ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। स्तोकस्तोकनिरुध्यमानमृदुल प्रस्यन्ति मन्दस्मितं प्रेमोद्भेतनिरर्गलप्रसृमर प्रव्यक्तरोमोद्गमं श्रोतृश्रोत्रमनोहरव्रजवधू लीलामिथो जल्पितम् मिथ्यास्वापमुपास्महे भगवतः क्रीडानिमीलदृशः कलक्वणितकङ्कणं करनिरुद्धपीताम्बरं क्रमप्रसृतकुन्तलं कलितबर्हभूषं विभो पुनः प्रसृतिचापलं प्रणयिनीभुजायन्त्रितं मनस्पृहतमानसे मदनकेलिशय्योत्थितं कदा वा कालिन्दी कुवलयदलश्यामलतराः कटाक्षाः लक्ष्यन्ते किमपि करुणावीचिनिचिताः कदा वा कन्दर्प प्रतिपटजटाचन्द्रशिशिराः किमप्यन्तस्तोषं ददति मुरलीकेलिनिनदाः बहुलचिकुरभारं बद्धपिञ्चावतंसं चपलचपलनेत्रं चारुबिम्बाधरोष्ठं मधुरमृदुलहासं मन्तरोद्धारलीलं मृगयति नयनं मे मुग्धवेषं मुरारेः बर्हं नाम विभूषणं बहुमतं वेषाय शेषैरलं वक्त्रं द्वित्रिविशेषकान्तिलहरी विन्यासधन्याधरं शीलैरल्पदियाम् अगम्य विभवैः शृङ्गारभङ्गिमयं चित्रं चित्रमहो विचित्रमहहो चित्रं विचित्रं महः हे देव हे दयित हे जगदैकबन्धो हे कृष्ण हे चपल हे करुणैकसिन्धो हे नाथ हे रमण हे नयनाभिराम हा हा कदानुभवितासि पदं दृशो मे वंशीविभूषितकरात् नवनीरदाभात् पीताम्बरात् अरुणबिम्बफलाधरोष्ठात् पूर्णेन्दुसुन्दरमुखात् अरविन्दनेत्रात् कृष्णात् परं किमपि तत्त्वमहं न जाने सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय कृष्णाय क्लिष्टकारिणे नमो वेदान्तवेद्याय गुरवे बुद्धिसाक्षिणे नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। श्रीगणेश शारदा गुरुभ्यो नमः। शिवाय गुरवे नमः। So earlier in the last session, we saw that bhakti or devotion towards Adhokshaja, Sri Krishna, is indeed the Paramaha Dharmaha, and it is the purpose of that bhakti, that Paro Dharma, to produce Krishna Katharati, an interest in the message of Krishna, the story, in the Leelas of Sri Krishna. A relationship that is established with Bhagavan Vasudeva through devotion very soon awakens vairagya, dispassion, and immediate knowledge of self. And if this is not caused by that bhakti, by that dharma, then it is wasted effort. Srama eva hi kevalam. So dharma was presented as the harbinger of the cause of bhakti. Now Sridhara Swami, by way of introduction to the next sloka, he is saying, Tadevam haribhakti dwara tadidara vairagyatpajnana paryantaha paro dharmaha ityuktam anyetu manyante. He says it is the contention of some scholars that the purpose of dharma is artha or wealth. tat nirakaroti. So Suta is rejecting that with the next verse. Let us look at that verse, the 9th verse. Dharmasya hi apavargyasya nartho arthayopakalpate narthasya dharmai kantasya kamo labhaya hi smrutaha. So the padacheda would be dharmasya hi apavargyasya na arthaha arthaya upakalpate na arthasya dharmai kantasya kamaha labhaya hi smrutaha. The anvaya would be apavargyasya dharmasya arthaya arthaha na upakalpate dharmaikantasya arthasya labhaya kamaha nahi smrutaha. So dharmasya means of all occupational or religious duties. Dharmaikantasya, he means certainly. Apavargyasya, meant for apavarga or the ultimate liberation. Na arthaha, not for the sake. Arthaya, of the purpose, of the gain. Upakalpate is meant for. Na arthasya, neither for material gain. Dharma ekantasya, whose only aim is dharma. Kamaha, the sense gratification. Labhaya, attainment of. Na, not. He, certainly. Smritaha, is described by the great sages. So that is the Padacheda and Pratipadartha. So the meaning is, all occupational or religious duties are certainly meant for apavarga, the ultimate liberation. So those duties should never be performed for material gain, according to the sages. Then one should never use wealth to pursue kama or sense gratification. Indeed, wealth or artha is not considered the goal of dharma, which is the way to apavarga or release from this samsara. Nor is kama or desire the end of that wealth, as the true aim of wealth is dharma, dharmaikantasya. So here Sridhara says, Tadevam haribhakti dvara tadidara vairagyatma jnana paryantaha paro dharmaha ityuktam. Earlier it was pointed out that bhakti or devotion towards Hari that evokes dispassion and knowledge of self is indeed paramo dharmaha, the highest duty of mankind. But some scholars say that the dharma's purpose is to obtain wealth, which in turn is to fulfill your desires. There is a need of wealth. And in support, they quote a Vyasa Vachanam from Mahabharata, which Sridhara Swami presents as Purvapaksha. What is that verse? Dharma dharthascha kamascha sakimartham na sevyate. Since dharma causes wealth, legally you can earn wealth, why would anyone not serve dharma? So this idea that dharma is for wealth is being refuted by Suta. That is what Sridhara writes. Tan nirakaroti. He is trying to refute that idea in this verse. So why should we perform dharma or selfless actions? What is the purpose of artha or wealth? And what is the surupam of kama or desire? And how to attain mukti or freedom? These are all discussed by Suta in the next two verses. Here in this verse he points out that whoever desires self-fulfillment must first have purushartha nischaya or clarity regarding one's priorities, which the Shastra names as purusharthas, the four human pursuits. They are, as you know, dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Dharma means, it's a word with many meanings, but here in this context, it refers to a delight born of a discipline to maintain a balance of inherent natural laws. The joy you get from performing a meritorious deed like helping someone, that is dharma. Feeding the hungry, all this is dharma. When you are able to alleviate someone's pain, you experience a certain contentment, a certain happiness. And this is different from artha, the joy of gaining wealth, or kama, the joy you get through sensory pleasures. By chance, you find that someone is in pain and you are able to alleviate the person's suffering and you feel satisfied. That is dharma. A volunteer who does not work for any monetary benefit enjoys this kind of happiness. Those who are able to discover joy in such work, selfless work, they do so. They discover that happiness. And that is also because there is a certain sensibility on their part. That kind of refinement is required to be a dharmika, for which one should be educated, cultured, and exposed to the teaching and life of dharma. If a person has not learned through experiences, if a person is not cultured, what kind of joy can he or she get out of life? For such people, there can only be sensory pleasures. Drinking, sleeping, eating, etc. But many simple joys are lacking in their lives because they fail to maintain a balance with dharma. Thus, the happiness in one's life is proportionate to one's understanding of dharma and conformity to it. Yataha dharmaha tatas sukham. If you accept situations that life is randomly throwing at you and go about what you do, then life is very simple. But if you don't have the Atma Prasada or the equanimity of the mind that we discussed in an earlier session, you do not enjoy what you do. Then you have to seek to get out of that troubled state of mind. That is when you have to take a trip. You have to do something in order to enjoy, which can cost you time and resources. On the other hand, any pleasure that comes out of one's alignment with dharma is a different type of joy. Not hurting someone or doing the right thing at the right time gives you contentment. It is the fulfillment you gain by doing your kartavyam. That is what is to be done at any given moment, and that is dharma. And this dharma, earlier Sridhara had pointed out, ayam dharmo dvividaha pravritti lakshano nivritti lakshanascha. So this, he talks about action or activity or karma, meaning not only religious activities, but also those that we consider as worldly. All activities, whether Vedic, Vaidika or Laukika, worldly, are considered to be dharma, and thereby they become your occupational duties. This is what is meant by pravritti lakshanaha dharmaha. The dharma defined as pravritti, the path of activity. So this path can be further divided as two. The first being sakama pravritti, or a pravritti for gaining a desired objective, as iha, in this world, or amutra, later, after death. And the second type is a pravritti for gaining antahkarana shuddhihi, or for gaining clarity of understanding through the purification of mind or antakaranam. So there are therefore two kinds of people who follow this pravritti marga, the path of action. Kama kamaha, those who seek pleasures through kamya karmas, and then the second type, dharma kamas, or those who seek antakarana shuddhi, the purification of mind, with moksha as their end. People belonging to both these categories accept the Vedas authority, the Pramanya, and therefore they are called as Vaidikas. They are those who strictly adhere to and practice the Vedic style of life. So why do we need this dharma for self-fulfillment in our life? Dharma is needed for you to be self-sustaining, to not to rely upon anyone and become self-reliant on your own. Total freedom from any kind of inhibition, from subjugation, is a sign of the upholding of dharma in your life. If you can do that, that means you are dharmic. Dharma accounts for your maturity. The more mature you are, the more of a dharmika you are. And in order to be mature, a thorough understanding of dharma and conformity to it becomes of paramount significance in a person's life. So what inhibits us from being free and from being just ourselves? The shabdadi vishayaha, the sense objects that pull us. The srotradi indriyani, our senses that drag us. Manaha, our mind that distracts. Vasanaha, our tendencies that compel us to do things which we don't want to do. And our ego that drives us. And our erroneous conclusions that mislead us. These are the inhibitions that stops us from being a mukta. Mukti is a natural condition when we are devoid of all these inhibitions and when we serenely abide in our own self. As the Yajurveda, Taittiriya Upanishad points out, apnoti swarajyam, then one is the master of himself, he is free. Apnoti manasaspatim, he attains and becomes the lord of his own mind. Vakpatis chakshushpatihi, he becomes Vakpatihi, the ruler of his speech. Chakshushpatihi, he becomes the ruler of his eyes. Srotrapatir vijnanapatihi, he becomes Srotrapatihi, the ruler of his ears. He decides what to listen. Vijnanapatihi, the ruler of knowledge. Etat tato bhavati, he stays over and above all these. So people think usually that by being a dharmika, by performing all your duties and rituals, one can attain immense wealth and punyam. Sutta says dharma should not be performed for the sake of wealth, because it is apavargya, the cause of apavarga or freedom. It can give us greater results. So while performing dharma, the intent always should be to be apavargya, to be free from samsara. But some argue that the purpose of dharma is to obtain wealth. That is what Sridhara said. Dharma dartascha kamascha sakimartham na sevyate. When you perform dharma, when you are very legal, doing your actions, automatically wealth manifests and all your desires are also materializing because of that. That's why he said dharma arthascha kamascha. Dharma begets artha, wealth, and wealth begets kama, desires. But Sridhara points out arthakamau labhaya phalatvaya na upakalpate yogyaha na bhavati. Apavarga or freedom should be our goal in performing dharma as per the Bhagavatas. not artha, material gains, or kama, desires, according to the sages. That was the first half of the verse. The second half of the sloka, Suta talks about how one should never use artha or wealth to pursue sense gratification or kama. Narthasya dharmai kantasya kamo labhaya hismritaha. That is the second line. So Sridhara writes, Tatharthasyapi evam bhuta dharma avyabhijarinaha kamaha labhaya phalatvaya nahi smritaha munibihi. So this artha is a very important purushartha, that which provides you security and psychological, monetary or community support. All this comes with artha. According to Amarasimha, the famous author of the lexicon Amarakosha, the word artha means abhideya, meaning name, rai or wealth, vastu or objects, or prayojanam, a form of satisfaction gained by accomplishing that you seek. So artha could be all this. It could be possessions such as wealth, objects like house, jewelry, or intangible aims like name and fame or similar things that provides support and security and boosts your ego. So this attempt to find these various forms of artha may differ from person to person. But in spite of that, the fact that each individual is after some artha, some prayojanam, that is a constant. As they say, prayojanam anuddishya namando vipravartate. Not even someone moving in a snail space who is very dull, slow, would move without a purpose. The fact that I am an artharthi, one seeking an artha, an objective, is proof of my dissatisfaction, that I am displeased with myself, with my current situation, and I have to do something to gain satisfaction. And when then are you going to completely fulfill your arthas? No one can say, I am secure and I am self-sufficient, even with all possible wealth and securities. As seen in the famous Subhashitam, Nisvo vashti shatam shati dasashatam laksham sahasradhipo. Lakshe shakshiti palatam. Lakshe shakshiti palatam kshitipatis chhatreshwaratvam punaha. Chhatresha punarindratam surapatihi brahmam padam vanchati. Brahma Vishnu padam Harish Shiva padam Tvashavadhim ko gataha. So a man in penury, in extreme poverty, seeks shatam. So a man in penury, in extreme poverty, seeks shatam, 100. And one who has shatam or 100 seeks dashashatam, 1,000, that is 1,000. And he laksham, 100,000. And he who has 1,000,000, he is a laksheshaha. And then he wants to be a kshitipala, a master of a small kingdom. And then he wants to be a Chhatrapati, an emperor who wields influence over many kings. And afterwards, that Chhatrapati wants to be Indra, the king of gods. And Indra wants to be Brahma, and Brahma wants Vishnupadam. So who can say I am secure and self-sufficient? Really, Pipilikadi Brahmandam, till Brahmaji, no one can say that. So till I continue to need support, the sense of insecurity will remain with me. Feeling secure because I can fall back on support does not mean I am secure. So all the dharma we perform is with the sole purpose of being free from some or the other type of inhibitions. Without violating dharma, we pursue artha or material success. Normally, we assume that the fulfillment of kama or desires and attainment of success, which again is kama, is the purpose of wealth. But Bhagavatam says, arthasya dharmaikantasya, wealth should favor only dharma. Kamo labhaya nahi smritaha, and its end should never be kama. So if there is excess of wealth, it can always be used for dharma rather than indulgence in sensual pursuits or kama. As Kalidasa says in the first chapter of Raghuvamsha, while describing the Raghus, the ancestors of Rama, Tyagaya Sambrudarthanam, the Raghu clan kings engaged in the pursuit of wealth. Why? Tyagaya, only to sacrifice it for common good. So if you practice dharma to obtain wealth, that is no benefit. That is a bondage. But if you want to know what the fruit of wealth is, the answer is dharmaikantasya. Dharma in the form of tyaga, that is the fruit of wealth. So among dharma and artha, dharma characterizes your maturity. The more mature you are, the more of a dharmika you become. A thorough assimilation of dharma and compliance to it, therefore, is of great importance. Thus, dharma occupies the first place among these purusharthas. Without violating dharma, doing what is to be done, you pursue artha or wealth. And if you have wealth, use it in ways which will benefit others, and you will be free from bondage. Your life will be filled with dharma. The real fruit of wealth is dharma, not bhoga. The fruit of dharma finally is moksha, not wealth. So, thus having examined dharma and artha in this 9th verse, the 10th verse, kama or desire is being scrutinized. What is the fruit of kama? The fruit of kama is bhoga or annapanadi, sustenance of our lives. This is being clarified in the next verse. We shall see that. Swasti prajabhyah paripalayantam nyayena margena mahim mahisha go brahmanebhyah shubhamastu nityam loka samasta sukino bhavantu sarve bhavantu sukinah sarve santu niramaya sarve bhadrani pashyantu ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.